Let's go these 2 plays and take a look at these, what would be my play call of the week. I'm gonna say that's both because, they were both such great play calls and both 2 different play calls at that in what you did. Not you just doing the same thing back to back, but they got the same result, but absolutely 2 different ways in which you got it done in this one. Let's come out and let's set the stage here for what happens on this Tyrese Knight strip sack fumble for both of these 2 plays. First off, you're coming out in what would I'd say to me if I'm an offense, it looks like cover 1, could become cover 3, but by the looks of it, you've got Tariq Woolen on the top side of the screen and tremendous amount of off coverage. That's not just off coverage, folks. That's well over 10 yards of off coverage from Tariq, which is there's a little bit of an indicator here on what he's doing post snap with that very, very deep off coverage. Then you've got Devin Witherspoon at the bottom of the screen in press coverage, looking like he's going to be running press man. And then you have Ty Cotta in the far left-hand side of the screen, way over on the far left hand. He's out there as your single high safety on this play. The Seahawks have stacked the line of scrimmage. You got 3 guys over to the weak side of the formation, kind of weak side. It's a balanced formation here from the Cardinals. And then you have 3 guys over to essentially what would be kind of the high side of the formation. Well, technically, Murphy's over to the weak side as well here and how they've got him shaded. But 6 guys for the 6 of the Cardinals, plus the tight end 7, plus a running back gives you 8 in pass protection. If they send everybody here from a Seahawks perspective back to the Cardinals should be okay here. It does not necessarily mean they're overwhelmed because you can send 6 guys. They've still got plenty of guys in there to help out. What happens here is the Cardinals get funky with it. They almost kind of overthink this a little bit, and you end up with a free rusher essentially because of it. And so post snap, as we drop back, Ty Akata leaves the screen. What's Akata doing? He's playing the cover 2 to this, I'm going to call it the weak side of the formation, if you were the near side of the field to you on your eyes here. So he's going to the near side. He's doing that because you have Devin Witherspoon in press trail coverage. So watch Witherspoon here. He's not in pure man to me. Watch, it's to me the thing that indicates this is not pure man to me is the bounce step here, right here. That bounce step where he doesn't just try to run right with them, but kind of bounces, wants to stay in sort of the trail coverage technique here. This is what you would typically do with the old school cover 2. You press up the corner, and then the corner's kind of in a way letting the receiver get a little bit of, not separation, but a little bit around him because he's there to run the trail. He's there when he tries to go to the out and the in route. You can be more reactive to that versus if I'm in the hip pocket and I'm trying to run step for step with the guy, he can lose me quick with a juke because I'm trying to be literally glued to him. It's a cool technique in order to sometimes take away some of those routes that when you're in man coverage, you can be susceptible to. You've got here on this play the help over the top from Witherspoon's perspective. So he wants to make sure to take away anything that's going to be underneath here. If it's a stop route, out route, in cutting route to the high side of the field, Tariq Woolen is dropping to cover 2. It it looks a little bit like he's in cut in my I mean, he's turning into a cover 2 safety essentially. We could argue on this about semantics of whether he's playing cover 3 off corner coverage. I would argue that he's so far off at this point, he's basically become a safety on this play. But you can see he's not in any way, even off the initial steps of the look at the high side receiver here, even off of his initial steps here, Williams not reacting to it. And the reason he's not reacting to it is because I think he's playing that cover 2 to the other side of the field. And then you can see he's got Uchenna Nwosu and Drake Thomas taking away the dig route and the over route here. If the receiver's going to come back short on a comeback, Uchenna's there, Drake's there for the in cutting route, and then Woolen's there if he's going to go deep. Now we get back to the front side of this. A little bit of confusion for Brissett and how he sees this at the snap. This is one time where Mike is not really trying to as much confuse you here pre to post snap, in my opinion. He's running it kind of straight up. It's more of the blitz, I think, that kind of surprises the Cardinals and how the Hawks look to run this one. So you're going to have Bryant and Emanwari from the bottom side of the screen both come. Emanwari here, watch if you can for me the way Bryant gets off the snap versus Emanwari getting off the snap. Okay, so watch 8-3. Watch how quickly 8 gets off verse 3. And I don't think this is being done, by the way, because Emanwari can't time the snap count. I think he's timing the blitz up here for things to hit at a certain beat. So the first beat is Bryant eliminates that first rusher. Let's go it slow here. So Kobe Bryant eliminates the tackle. Emanwari's coming back, and he's probably surprised as hell because he thought DJ Humphreys was going to be there, but Humphreys is going back across the formation 68. He's going back across the formation to go help out on the other side. This is where the Cardinals have messed up because something in their pre-snap rotations here are telling them we're going to need to have the extra help over to the right side of the offensive line where Seattle's only going to be rushing 2 guys. So you end up, just watch that high side of the offensive line here. You end up with 4 offensive linemen on 2 Seattle Seahawks. And I showed you guys a cut up with Houston a couple of weeks ago of the same freaking thing, where you end up with your fronts. And this is why I love stacked boxes, is because you can just end up making offenses look silly. Where you've got 4 guys, Humphrey's not even blocking anybody. He's just like, uh-oh, we messed up on this play. I got nobody to block. So then what this does, of course, as I pause it right there, is now your Seattle Seahawks have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, the 3 Cardinals that are remaining there. So how do you get the free rusher? Tyrese does a great job with the sidestep to get around the clogging that's going on with DeMarcus Lawrence on his block. Eamon with a little hesitation step there to allow everything to widen out with Kobe Bryant to take that tackle as wide out as he can. Because what you don't want, why he's kind of stuttering that, is that if he tries to time it with Kobe, you can end up then with the running back filling the hole right next to the left tackle. And now there's a wall there that Tyrese Knight doesn't have a free hole to get through. But because Kobe attacks quickly first off the edge, and then Eamon kind of stutters coming in there, there's a pathway there for Tyrese Knight to get in there. It's Tyrese's sidestep as well that helps this. But you can see again, watch him getting off there, where you can see with Nick Eamon, he's just doing a little bit of a stuttering of his approach there, all setting up the timing of this play. Purpose of to eventually get the free rusher at the quarterback, which is just what you do. And from Jacoby Brissett's angle of this, it appears he's wanting to go to Marvin Harrison. Rewatching the tape with Jacoby Brissett this game, he really wanted to just get too hyper focused on Marvin. And every read, he was really at times not even looking at his reads. It was just like he was just looking over to Marvin. Let me get it to him. So he comes back out of play action. He's looking to Marvin first, but you got Tayakata over the top with Devin Witherspoon running trail coverage. So he goes, oh, hell, I can't go there. But now look at Trey McBride. Trey McBride wide open in the middle of the field. Because you've taken Uchenna and Drake Thomas to take away the top route, the high route, you've dedicated those 2 guys to him, and you want to keep clearance deep. This leaves Trey McBride wide open in the middle of the field here. But because the timing of the play is so sharp with the fronts, the timing is so beautifully ran by those guys, Jacoby cannot get the throw off, even though he is there and wide open. Look at this play here with Trey McBride when he starts to throw this ball. That's going to be probably a 20-yard play. Devin Witherspoon is trying to run after Marvin Harrison. So even if Trey catches that, Devin to turn back around and make the tackle, 20-yard play waiting to happen. But the timing is run perfectly all the way around here. Nobody messes up on their job. Everybody's on point. Details are correct. And Tyrese Knight, of course, with that nice little sidestep just to kind of seal it up. Hell of a play call there by Mike Macdonald. And I love when he gets into his bag, because he just seems to give these offenses problems time and time again, and they just don't know what to do about it. The other play call on this one I wanted to feature being the second one, with a little bit of a different look this time. So on this look, you're going to have a cover 2, not a cover 2 look, actually. This is a little bit more what I would call traditional safety look. Nick Eamon is actually playing kind of a free safety role here. Then you've got Kobe is kind of playing your strong safety here on this play. It's a balanced offensive line front here from the Cardinals, the tight ends over here, but it's kind of an interesting look from the Seahawks in that they're a lot of times they'll go to the cover 2 shell where your safeties are going to be even on a line 12 yards off the ball. Here you're playing it a little bit deeper here. Again, we got that beautiful stack box, and that is the one thing of commonality between these 2 plays that they both have that you utilized. You've got the 1, 2, 3 here on the right side of the Cardinals line. Then we've got the 4 to the high side with Drake Thomas threatening to blitz up off that edge. So Cardinals have this, again, well blocked as far as at least the theoretical numbers game goes, because they have 6 blockers plus the potential chipping of Trey McBride in there for then the 6 potential pass rushers of the Seahawks. And the Seahawks are actually going to, of course, drop guys out. So you're not going to get the pure 6 here. You just don't know who's coming from where. That's the problem. And that's what happens here. You drop out the 2, and that ends up creating the confusion here on the offensive line and pass protection once again. So Drake Thomas drops out. You have Tayakata in there at the line of scrimmage dropping out. And of course, then as I showed on the earlier run there with Tyrese Knight, he runs a great game in there. It's such quick pressure. I mean, this gets here so fast on the drop. By the time he's to that back foot, Tyrese Knight is bearing down upon him. Again, like I said earlier, you can see here as you look at Jacoby Brissett, where's his eyes at right now? He is locked in on Marvin Harrison. He has decided on this play, I'm going to Marvin Harrison very early. And the problem with this is that this is a long developing route. You don't have the time on this route for this thing to develop for you to be able to get this throw off, period. And not to mention, it's not even open. I mean, he goes to throw this thing He's trying to throw that to Brissett, and it's kind of like a wheel route. Look at, or he's not throwing to Brissett, he's throwing to Harrison. Look at Harrison at the top of the screen, kind of running a little bit of a soft wheel route there. He's not open. Like, he was going to throw that where it wasn't even there. Now it's a deep ball. It probably thinks it's going to be incomplete, worst case scenario. But a strange read there from Jacoby. I kind of got the impression when he got in there for Kyler, there was kind of this onus upon, like, all right, you're going to actually feature Marvin. Like, we've had a hard time getting him featured with Kyler. They're not on the same boat. I need you to be on the same boat and actually feature this guy, get him his targets. Really seemed at the head of the stack of what he was trying to do in this game. Because as well, Trey McBride again here. I mean, as good a day as Trey had, again, probably open for a nice little in-cutting route off the chip here. He chips Boye Mafe, sits down. Not going to get a big gain on that one, but it's not going to be a strip sack fumble. And I'm not really sure with this play what it is with Brissett pre-snap that takes him to Marvin Harrison, because you do have the two safeties over the top, and Bryant's dropping post-snap. So even the corner on the wheel routes got help over the top. Strange processing from Jacoby on this play. And again, I think I just drive it back to he's just trying to feature his first round pick that they took really high and kind of validate that. Stack boxes, though, you don't have to send everybody. Why you like to do these stack boxes is because you dictate protections. They see these guys up at the line of scrimmage. They've got to account for these guys. They don't get to just go, well, we just get to ignore it. And it's actually 7 they've got up here. This is a big stress test here onto this Cardinal team by your lineman, how you set it up. You still end up sending extra guys. You got 7, you drop in 2. You still would end up with a fire zone blitz here, but you just create confusion up front of who to block, who's coming, who isn't coming. You end up with linemen who are sometimes staring at places and they're not blocking anybody. So in this case, look at the center. Watch Froholt, one of the better centers in the sport. Watch what happens to him here. I mean, he kind of ends up he sort of ends up picking the block up on Leonard Williams to try to help out Evan Brown. And technically you've got the running back helping. So it's, I mean, not, totally a blow, on that. But I think ideally the Cardinals were drawing this back up. You pick up Knight on the inside and we trust Evan out there with the one-on-one. We're chipping off on Boye, so our left tackle should be fine. But you end up with a lot of linemen against this defense that just end up kind of late blocks like this with Froholt, where early on he's not touching anybody. If this was just a pure double team, he'd be drawing right into Leonard right from the jump. He's just kind of drawing back, arms wide, trying to kind of assess who's coming where, and he doesn't think about Tyrese at all. And then finally, eventually, when you're pretty deep in his play, he finally lays his hands on him right there. Finally gets his hands on Leonard Williams. So you have a lot of linemen. Showed it on the last snap, showing it on this snap. You have a lot of linemen in these situations at this point who just not sure where to block. And a lot of post-snap kind of looking around, or a guy's floating back over here thinking it's going to be here, but it's way over. Your guys are actually coming from this side. I maintain that since we got out of that Tampa Bay game, Mike has really been in his bag with this type of stuff. And it's not that he's having to blitz 24/7. It's not that you just send the house every time and that you risk everything, but it's that you're peppering this in enough with some of the standard issue stuff that you do, which can sometimes be a little bit vanilla, especially with your fronts and the 4-man fronts at that can be enough to kind of upend offenses and make them have to kind of think a little bit more. And really, once you get them thinking like that, that's when good things happen. That's when you can force turnovers, as Mike has for multiple weeks over now. When you look at the back of these plays calls I'm featuring, not only is it a featuring of a play call that's allowing you to get to the quarterback or create pressure or go and get the sack, it's causing a fumble. It's the play against Washington I showed last week where Tyakata goes up there and gets the interception, high pointing the ball, because you were able to get the pressure there on Jaden Daniels with that pass rush, with that blitz, with those blitz looks that you were sending that way. And so this is why, to me, it's such a valuable tool to utilize. And Mike can't forget about it, like he did with that Tampa Bay game. You can't forget about it.